Hello and welcome to round 1 of the AOR Project Cars 2 Formula C Championship at Ruapuna Park GP circuit. I'm joined here today by my co-commentator JP McKinley. How are we doing today?
Hello there, Kiki. Kiki. They finally did it. They've finally gone and done it. They've let us in charge to commentate on a full season of an AOR league. It's happening.
It is happening indeed. I'm not sure what got over them, but here we are, here today with the Formula C League with a load of familiar names, and after last week's pre-season race at Barcelona, it should be some great on-track action.
Yeah, for sure. The pre-season testing certainly left us know who the favourites are going to be for this. And also, there could be some rivalries after the testing. There was some bit of argy-bargy considering it was a testing session, but yeah, it could the rivalries could spill over into the season.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to see who comes out on top of our favourites of this race, which will be Yogurt and Strongest Avenger, two very strong drivers as we know from previous races, with Yogurt taking both of the wins in the pre-season. So interesting to see how those two get on in these races.
Yeah, for sure. As we just see Martin doing a couple of donuts there on his out lap, and he's got back onto the track, and he's just about to finish the first sector. But yeah, a couple of times already been set. We've got Big Wilk, who was pretty feisty in the pre-season testing. Currently he's sitting on pole.
It's early days yet with only 3 people setting times, so we'll see now as people start getting in their first laps with Enema coming around the hairpin turn number 4. As on the S's to a 90-degree right, 90-degree left, and then another long right-hander. Go over the Strongest Avenger now, actually. With a 119.3 for Strongest Avenger, so he's currently pipped Yogurt by 0.13 of a second, so this is how close it's going to be. It's going to be a great race.
Yeah, it looks like he realised how much he needed to practice from the pre-season testing, and he looks as if he's put the practice in, because he's currently almost 3/10 up on this lap alone. Yogurt may have a challenger on his hands.
It'd be a great one to see. Yogurt in previous leagues that we've had has kind of run away with it, with some other drivers stepping away from Project Cars since the previous GT3 season we had, not deciding to sign up for the LMP category, which we've had recently. So it's great to see Strongest Avenger come back now and put the challenge there for Yogurt.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the quickest guys I've ever seen on this game. The GT3 season I did, I can't count how many times he lapped me during that season. It was incredible.
It was, and a fair amount of times, myself included, in that lapping spree that Strongest Avenger went on. But further down the field, we still have some other quick guys which are definitely in with a chance, like As Turbo finishing 3rd and 2nd in the pre-season races. We know he's a strong driver, very clean, very consistent, is I think As Turbo's specialty. Just seems to be so consistent with his driving.
Yeah, definitely. Another quick driver that who was a teammate of Yogurt in the GT3 season was Speedy Go. And testing as well, he had a few incidents, but you could definitely tell in the feature race that he was definitely up there to be in contention for getting a lot of podiums, as he just put himself into P3 with that lap. Definitely a guy to watch out for during the season. Yeah,
for sure. Speedy Go deciding to drive on his own today, as we bit of a spinner there right in front of him, and nasty incidents during qualifying, not what we want to see. Be a return to pits there and go again, I think. But yeah, Speedy Go deciding to race on his own, with Yogurt teaming up with his fellow Latvian Crab, which again, Crab is another fast driver, finished 4th and 7th in pre-season testing. So see how those guys get on. WRC Animal picking up a 6th and a 4th who we're on board with now, so there's a fair amount of guys. There's a really good battling in the mid-pack in the previous race, so these guys will definitely be putting on a show for you tonight.
Yeah, you definitely couldn't be sure of who's going to pick up from 3rd to 10th. It really is a lottery who's going to be in, who's going to get there. Like,
WRC Animal also as well, racing on his own, not in a team today. But just going over some other teams, we have Shumi's Roomies, which is Uni and Ticklish Pickle Wickle. Should be good one to look out for. They're in the red, green and yellow livery. There you go, there's Ticklish now. Up with Uni, are both going to be fighting hard there in the midfield, I believe. Their sort of pace, hoping to pick up a fair few top 10s.
Yeah, I genuinely think pretty much everyone in this field is capable of getting top 10s every race, which is quite an unusual thing to say because there only is 10 spots available for everyone to get. Yeah. But it's just that the field is that tight, anyone can get into the top 10.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. There's on any given day, someone just has a bit better race and gets themselves into the top 10. And yeah, there's definitely going to be fight for that position. With the interesting part of this championship is obviously we've got a 15-minute qualifying, followed by a 12-lap standing start sprint race. Then after that there's the 24-lap feature race, but the top 10 of the sprint race will be starting in reverse grid order. So if you finish 10th in race 1, you get pole position for race 2, which is quite a huge advantage. We saw Clank last week, I believe, started in pole position for race 2, and he was battling for 2nd or 3rd place for the majority of that race until unfortunate incident. He got taken out into turn 1, which put him back a bit, but shows that reverse grid can really shake up race 2, where someone finishing 10th can be battling for the podium for race 2.
Yeah, it's this man here that we were watching in the first race. Esteban Kiera, also known as Stephen Carey, was battling for P10, him and Clank, and unfortunately for Stephen, he fell down to 11th and ended up starting the second race in 11th, and Clank, because he got 10th, got pole for the second race. So it really is, you need to get in the first race. If you can get into the top 10, you're pretty guaranteed to have a good race in the second race, as long as you can keep it clean. So like this, if you can just try and have a good clean race in the second race, you're pretty much guaranteed to have good points.
Yeah, for sure. We've got 6 minutes now remaining of qualifying. We see that pole position just split by 0.2 of a second, with Yogurt getting the better Strongest Avenger so far. Strongest seems to have been abandoning this lap, getting ready for the next one on his out lap.
Yeah. He's got to get Strongest Avenger needs to get 0.2 of a second here, and I think he's just waiting for some clear track as he's going to let this car pass now, and he's got a big gap behind so he can fall into that there. And just have another push lap to try and get that 0.2, because Yogurt, I can guarantee Yogurt will be reveling in this. He was seeing that there's only like a smaller gap, and he'll be reveling. He'll be loving that there's a challenge, because Yogurt doesn't want to run away with these races. He wants an actual proper battle. He doesn't want,
Yeah, definitely. It's like we said before, it's been a while since he's had someone to actually have to battle with on track, so it's great to see Strongest Avenger there, been able to put it to him. So yeah, I believe that's one of the Celtic Bromance Alpha Timeshift Motorsport going off in the background with the blue tint livery. So we're watching Yogurt now coming round. I don't believe he's going to be on a lap when he's stuck behind traffic like this, so he may have to back off this one and go for the next one.
Yeah. You can see again, he's drifting every corner. He absolutely loves it sideways.
Yeah, it's just his style of driving. It's just really aggressive and really just basically use the oversteer to his advantage. He really does manage to get those times out of nowhere by what doesn't look like it's clean, but it's certainly fast and it works for him. So
yeah, as he's realised that there's traffic and he just jumped back to the pits. Crab as well realising this and coming back into, he's sitting at P3. What a great quali for him so far. Let's have a look at his Strongest up on a lap. He's caught up to the cars in front. We can only assume that it's been a good lap so far. Or is he bailing on this lap? Yeah, he's bailing on this lap as well.
Yeah, he's gonna leave the gap there. Yeah, 4 seconds down. It's definitely not on a lap. So Strongest Avenger again having to wait up and try again on the next one. We've got just under 4 minutes left, so should be able to get 4 laps in at this time. So plenty of time to still set another faster lap and try and pip Yogurt to that P1.
Yeah, but look at the gap from P3 to even P8. There's like just over a second between all of those cars. This is what I was saying, that anyone could be in the top 10, because it's so ridiculously tight, considering it's such a technical track as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's really close for the rest of the top 10. It's going to be a great race ahead of us, but these two guys ahead are just in a league of their own by the looks of it. With oh, who's that pulling out? That was unfortunate. Strongest was on a lap there, and someone just pulled out and rejoined the track, and that's Big Wilk. That's not great by him. Was it Big Wilk? Or was that someone else? It's whoever that is on the right, number 64, behind Big Wilk. Believe that maybe Speedy Go or Lownidus. Very similar liveries on this track, so it's hard to tell sometimes who's who with these red and white liveries.
That's really unfortunate, but another Celtic Romance driver, WRM Martin, and sitting in P13 at the time. He's got a big gap to try and jump some places, so all the cars ahead of him are pretty close together. But if he could gain a second, that would only really gain him one spot, because Carey in P11 is 1.1 seconds ahead. So Martin has he's got a bit of work to do to get up the field yet.
Yeah, he does indeed. Seems like he's on a good lap now, though, pushing right to the end of the tracks there. Obviously, we know track limits with Project Cars 2 isn't always that lenient, but you have to try and get to the edge of the track, and don't even get close to going over it, though. Just get right to the edge.
Pretty much. If you look at a curb, it's invalidated.
Yeah, unfortunately, but it's the same for everyone, so that's what makes it fair with sim racing, is track limits are always the same for everyone.
Yeah. And have a look at Clank, who's sitting in 16th. Yeah, 4/10 behind WRM Martin. Celtic Romance boys aren't having a great day of it today.
We saw Clank, as I said last time, he finished P10 in race 1 and was holding on for that podium position for the majority of second race at Barcelona. So we'd expect him to be doing a bit better than he's doing now today, but maybe it's just qualifying, warming up. He may not be a qualifying guy, he may just do it all in the race instead.
Maybe he just fancies a challenge.
I don't think you want to fancy a challenge before starting impeding yourself with grid penalties that you don't need.
As WRMCR Animal returns to the pits, as well as Dunder. I think that's their qualifying done for now. Speedy Go half a second down on this lap. I don't think he's going to do it. I think that's going to be him for now. As Turbo. All kinds of squirrely coming out of turn 4. Where is Strongest Avenger? He's 1.7 seconds down.
I believe that's going to be invalidated that far off the track.
Yeah, it's going to be invalidated. That's got to be a P2. Jorgic's got to be safe. Crab is 2 seconds behind that.
Also not on a lap, so that's, I believe that's going to be Jorgic's. I can't see anyone else beating that time now, but 2/10. That's a close top 2 we got there.
Big Wilk 4.2 seconds up. Sorry, 0.42 seconds up.
Could he had me shook down.
Could he jump Ass Turbo?
Definitely a chance he could jump both Ass Turbo and Crab here. There's only 4/10 between them. Get to P3. And he does.
What a lap at the death of qualifying to get it into P3. What a job Big Wilk's just done. Fantastic stuff.
Fantastic lap by him there. Just jump those 2 in the closing lap of the qualifying session. But I'm hearing that we have some light rain on the way. Should be here for the start of our sprint race.
Oh, fantastic stuff. That'll
It could make things very interesting as we have a rundown now of the first qualifying session of our first race here at Ruapuna. We have Yogurt in P1, Strongest Avenger just 0.2 behind, then quite a jump, 1.6 behind the leader is Big Wilk in P3, then Crab followed by Ass Turbo, less than a tenth separating those two. And we see Dunder in 6th, Speedy Go P7, Ticklish Picklewickle picking up P8, JJ in P9 and WRC Animal taking 10th place. As we see, the rain has descended.
Yeah, that's more than a drizzle, Kiki. That's gonna be absolute mayhem in the opening laps as drivers struggle to see where the grip is.
It is indeed. It's
But
going to
yeah,
be interesting with the spray. These cars, obviously open wheel, the spray gets pretty bad when you're on board in these cars, trying to follow someone, especially on a track like this, which is quite a technical track, quite a narrow track. You don't have much to really go wide to get out of the spray. So it's going to be interesting to see how these cars deal with that, and drivers deal with this.
Yeah, just carrying on from the qualifying results, you got Clank in P11. We've got Stefan Carey in P12. They're going to have another fantastic battle to try and get that 10th spot, maybe, to lead the feature race. MDL Martin, Boris, and 14th. You got Darephile in 15th. You got Keyboard Blondie, who had a fantastic preseason testing, in 16th. Cameron B 17th, Enema in 18th, Georgie in
Lonidas, I think.
Lonides in 19th. Thanks for that. I definitely needed the help. Mr. Ferret in P20 and Voodoo taking up the last spot on the grid in 21.
21 drivers, quite a good turnout today. I mean, quite a good sign up for this championship. It's nice to see people still supporting Project Cars 2 and coming here to race. Wouldn't have thought we got 21 drivers, but here we are. It's a great thing to see.
Yeah, definitely. The game does have some great features, but enough about that. We're syncing up.
The lights are going red. Take this away as the lights are about to close.
The lights are red, engines are revving. And it's go as Strongest Avenger has a fantastic start. Yogurt's dropped down to P2. Crab with another great start as it seems the left side of the grid has had less grip off the start as they go almost 3 wide into turn 1. There's contact and Strongest Avenger's been taken out at the very beginning of the race. He's lost his rear wing. Oh, that's absolutely devastating after such a good qualifying. But Yogurt now leads the race as Crab gets it all squirrely, and there's lots of cars off in the background.
I believe that a Dunder that was going off in the background there, but he gets back on track, and I think he keeps his P6. From the start, 3 wide into turn 1 is not what you want to see, and there's unfortunate contact, and Strongest Avenger gets the worst of it on the outside.
Yeah, Ass Turbo now getting up to P3. Big Wilk, although it's good qualifying, managed to held on. He must have dropped down to 5th, but up to 4th again now. And it seems that Yogurt and Crab, I do believe,
we have a spinner behind. I think that's Cameron already. B or JJ. There's JJ in the background spun. JJ's dropping down the order now after that spin as he tries to get it back going, but there's no grip on the grass to spin it around. Just saw it in the background then as we were following someone else, but the wet conditions. It's a horrible way to start a season if you've not driven these cars much before. You have to go straight into a wet race like this, and people need to just calm it down and just get used to the groove. It's a long season, it's a marathon, not a sprint. We've heard that said recently.
I do believe WMDR Martin has lost his front wing in the chaos of the first lap, and you can see that it's just pure understeer, and he will be going back to the pits to try and get her fixed up, as well as Speedy Go's been in the wars. I think Ticklish as well has been in the wars. It's been absolute chaos, and they're only on lap 1.
Yeah, the wet conditions again just proving really difficult for these drivers, but
what a sorry to cut across you. What a fantastic start for Keyboard Blondie, keeping out of trouble, starting in P17th I think it was, and up to 8th now. What a fantastic opening lap, pure Senna-esque.
Yeah, as Esteban Carrier just gets down the inside there and pushes Keyboard wide, which allows Clank to also get through around the hairpin. So But still keeping it clean, that's what's important. No contact, you may have lost positions, but at least you're not having to go in the pits. But ooh, bit of lag there as keyboard comes around the corner.
As he's up the inside, there's a bit of contact there with Clank. Oh, he squeezes away. Clank now deciding to fall behind and slipping behind. As Carey up to P8 now. He manages to get through past Clank and Keyboard Blondie.
Of course, what's more important for these drivers here, Clank is sitting in that elusive P10 spot, which means he'll be starting on pole for the next race if he finishes there. So as long as they finish cleanly together, they'll be okay. But if one of them takes... Oh, so it's contact there with Crab and As Turbo! That may not have been As Turbo, that was the back marker even, sorry. That may have been Uni. I believe that was Uni that may have been the contact with Crab there.
Not sure who it was, but it's good news for Big Wilk. But Crab was having a fantastic drive, and yeah, just suit really. It must have been Uni because Ticklish was in the pits, and that's so unfortunate.
And As Turbo's still going there, so not sure what happened entirely, but just, yeah, unfortunate for Crab. He's having a great race. He's still in P. It's down to P8, P9, so I believe he's in the pits now.
Dropping
He's
down
dropped
the
it.
order. He's spun now again.
Yeah, if he's got damage from that incident, then these cars without their aero, very important on these ones. You can get away with it in a GT3 car, a bit of contact, you lose a bit of aero, it's not the end of the world, but in a Formula Spec car, any damage can be crucial and critical.
Yeah, well, we saw with Clank in the pre-season testing, he had a slight contact into turn 1 and it absolutely destroyed his right rear suspension, and he just couldn't continue on. But As Turbo and Big Wilk getting super close for... This is the battle for P2. Big Wilk, can he hang on, or will As Turbo make a move?
I believe that's what's confused me. As Turbo is in a different livery to what we're expecting. That's what confused me about the drivers. But
so, yeah, so it must have been As Turbo that caused the contact with Crab. Yeah.
I believe it must have been. Yeah, they seem close on track. So yeah, it does seem like it was As Turbo that made the collision happen. But I'm not sure which driver was at fault. But either way, Big Wilk has managed to get himself up to P2 after that, and is under a lot of pressure from As Turbo now. Can you see if he can defend this position?
Yeah. Turbo right on the gearbox. A Big Wilk putting serious pressure on him, trying to force him into a mistake. As Turbo 7/10 up on his previous best. Let's will he make a move into the final turn? No, he decides to stay back and take a wider line, trying to take a more speed onto the pit straight. As he gets a better exit, he's still right behind him in the slipstream. Big Wilk now goes defensive towards turn 1 on the run down to turn 1 and 2. As Turbo goes right, will he go around the long way? No, Big Wilk makes sure he claims the apex and makes sure As Turbo slips in behind.
That's great defending there by Big Wilk. Just took the inside line away into the first few corners, which is... There's the little kink at the end of the start-finish straight. It's such a shorter line to the next corner into the braking zone by having the inside line there. So Big Wilk, great job of defending so far against As Turbo. It's a bit squirrely off the hairpin though.
As As Turbo gets past, the pressure got to Big Wilk there. Unfortunate. But that's As Turbo up to P2 again.
Yeah, we'll see if Big Wilk has an answer as we go now to Keyboard Blondie, who's still sitting in a nice P7 at the moment. So great job by Keyboard Blondie to get the car into P7. Got to be pretty happy with himself so far as we're on lap 5 of 15, still a long way to go.
Yeah, he's done a fantastic job considering his qualifying. He wouldn't have been happy with the qualifying, but his race pace seems to be absolutely fantastic.
It's light off there, but I think they'll get away with that one without a penalty.
Yeah.
further towards the back of the field now. We're watching P10 with Leonidas. Not uncertain of his name, sorry, but we'll go with George. George is pretty easy. So George now with that P10 spot under pressure from Deifile, trying to get that elusive position for the race 2 pole position.
Yeah, this is going to be a battle between Crab, George, Deifile, and if any incidents happen, maybe even JJ and Duns could get involved as well.
Yeah,
this pack is seriously close. This will seriously affect the results. Sorry, not the results, but the starting positions for race 2.
It will indeed. I can't see Crab, unless he's got damage from that incident earlier on. He didn't pit, but I believe he saw him pit as though, although he may just spun, so I don't believe he has actually pitted. Unless he's got damage, I can't see him losing positions to these two guys, so I think the battle's going to mostly be between George and Deifile for that P10.
Yeah, as Crab has just got past Clank. Did Clank make a mistake? Because I did believe that he had a slight gap.
Or is it just Crab's raw pace? Obviously he was fighting for a podium spot earlier on before he had the incident, so Crab just man on a mission trying to fight his way back up. As we see a few penalties, Yogurt with his usual penalty he picks up with a 1 second. Crab also with a second, which could come into play at the end. As Clank goes wide and lets George and Deifile through. So Clank has just lost 2 positions there, going wide on the exit of one of the final corners there. Coming to last corner now. So Clank now, P11. It's not where he wants to be. He's going to be fighting now to get that P10 back.
He will be very disappointed in himself. He will be wanting to get them positions back. Because it just makes the second race so much easier. Oh,
that's not the way to do it.
Now as he's trying a bit too hard. I guess the wet conditions is just catching him out.
Yeah, he's lost a bit of time there now. He can either treat it as open air or lost time. But either way, Clank has some work to do now to gain his the time back and get on the back of this train, P2, P9 even, sorry.
Yeah, you would need to possibly just kind of sit back, because if these guys battle, which you will be doing for P9 and P10 and P8 even, there's a huge chance, high possibility of contact, which will give him that 1 or 2 positions that he needs to start in the front row for the second race.
Yeah, for sure. We're still just about halfway through this race now, gang. So a long way to go, and it's not over yet at all by any stretch.
But if you're looking at the timings, Yogurt, surprisingly, isn't the fastest man on the track. His last lap was a 1:28.5. As Turbo and
Big Wilk,
sorry, we're all in the 27s.
Yeah, very interesting to see. Maybe Yogurt got caught up in traffic, or he's got himself that 5-second buffer and decided just to slow it down a bit, keep chilled and keep it under control in these wet conditions. But if Turbo keeps this up, he will be on the tail of Yogurt if it stays like this for the next few laps.
It's amazing how Yogurt can always manage to just keep it out of trouble, and everyone else has incidents.
Yeah, definitely. Yogurt just guess when you have no one to battle with, you're not going to get in trouble. The only trouble you're going to get is your own driving. So, and Yogurt, we know, is capable enough to keep it on the track.
Yeah, for sure. As the battle now for P12 between JJ and Dunn, both these drivers have 30-second time penalties, but that won't matter to them. They will actually, in these conditions, 30-second time penalty. I mean, you can only really lose 1 or 2 positions if there's incidents towards the end of the race.
Yeah, you still got to keep driving even with those penalties. You're not going to lose anything by going faster, are you? So you're not going to hold up at all just because you got a 30-second penalty. See if they can gain any positions before the end of the race. But we see Yogurt now has extended his lead even. He's done a 1:27.5 with Turbo managing a 1:29 that previous lap. So everything's back to status quo. Yogurt is pulling away.
Yeah. Pretty sure Yogurt must have heard us. Here is Keyboard Blondie sitting in P8, a 1:31 last lap, with Crab ahead of him. Did a 1:29, but surely Crab must have done a mistake this lap because the gap is closed down to less than a second now.
Yeah, and that's where we need to be with Crab having the 1 second penalty. If Keyboard Blondie can at least stay in touching distance, it could be a free position by the end of the race.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe I could imagine that Crab is nursing some sort of damage from the wars that happened in the first lap and the first 3 laps, really.
Yeah, he's been involved in 2 collisions now into turn 1, so Keyboard Blondie goes over the cones, but managed to keep it together.
That's going to be a lot of damage on the front wing.
Damage and possibly a time penalty, which is not what you want when you're chasing someone with a penalty as well. Still nothing popped up yet, but it usually takes about half a lap for the steward's decision to come through.
But may I just say, Boris, who had 2 pretty average races in the pre-season testing, sitting in P4, what a fantastic job he's doing.
That is great to see. Like we said before, anyone can get a top 10, and Boris proving that he can get to P4 after finishing outside the top 10 in the pre-season racing. So amazing drive by him so far. As the weather, no, there's rain. I thought from that camera angle it looked like the rain had stopped, but nope, it's still definitely raining.
Yeah, and hats off to Boris. The lap times aren't that slow. He's in the 29s, mid 29s. That's pretty much where you want to be, considering.
Yeah, he's faster than the guy behind him.
The turbo's off.
That was Turbo.
Turbo went off. He's dropped down to 4th.
So that puts Boris now in podium contention if he can hold off Turbo for these final 5 laps. An 8 second incident he had there. I'm not sure what happened. I just saw him on the grass afterwards, but that's Boris has got to be happy with this now. Can he survive 5 laps holding off Turbo?
Well, I think I managed it for about 5 at Zolder in the GT3 race when it was a reverse grid. That's the only way I got ahead of him. But it was a huge ask, and eventually the fast guys did get past me. But I think with this weather conditions, everyone seems to be struggling. So anything's possible, to be honest. Big Wilk and Boris will be absolutely over the moon if it stays like this. They will be wanting the checkered flag right now.
Yeah, for sure. Big Wilk. It's not even that far up the road. It's only an extra 2 seconds or so to Big Wilk from Boris. So still all to play for these guys. Any slight incident is enough to put a battle in their hands.
As Darephile and George go side by side into turn 1, and there's almost contact as they go around turn 2. As Darephile goes around the outside of turn 2.
It's a great move by Darephile there to take up to P9. Stuff.
He doesn't want pole for the race. He's happy to be in P2.
Yeah, well, they still score points for race 1, so it's still worth fighting for those positions. It's not as if this is just a qualifier for race 2. You still score the same. I believe it's the same amount of championship points in this race as you do in the second race. So definitely still all to play for in this race.
As George tried to go around outside, as Darephile tried to defend, and he makes a mistake, and then George takes back up P9.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's contact there in that corner. It looked like they got very close nose to tail, but Darephile losing out on the position there and drops into P10 again.
I can't see the stewards being a bit busy after this race.
Yeah, for those joining us that aren't sure on the procedure, any incidents will be looked at after the race to adjust any positions. There's no live stewarding for Project Cars 2, so any incidents will be looked at after the race. Any finishing positions that Project Cars 2 say are not final, but we will go over those next race. Where I see someone spinning in the background. Who is that going round? Is that Ticklish?
It was.
Not having a great race today, having to pit already this race. Down in P17, trying to get it back together. I wonder if that pit stop, I don't believe he'll be this long on slicks, but he's struggling in these wet conditions so far, unfortunately, for Ticklish.
Yeah, for sure, and we're just going to jump up to the battle for P3 between Boris and Turbo. the gap has closed, but As Turbo seems to be stuck behind Boris, and he's not making much inroads now.
Yeah, it's still a second gap. I thought Asturbo would be all over him within a lap, to be honest, but Boris,
As you say that,
as he does now on that after that corner. There's 0.3 in it. Went from a second to 0.3. So Asturbo is fluctuating back and forth behind him. See if we can get him to turn 1 now, as the gap does seem to be coming down very slowly. It's not going to be enough into turn 1, I don't believe, at this pace.
yeah, I don't think the straight's long enough for the slipstream to be such a big factor as what it was at Barcelona. That yeah, the slipstream just kind of gets you that a little bit closer, but you have to stay with them through the corners, and I think As Turbo's struggling with them.
Yeah, with that spray it can't be nice either. It's really difficult to see in these cars. If you're right up behind someone, hard to see your braking markers, so you have the braking a bit early, as you see there. Asturbo making the mistake into the hairpin.
I think he tried to fake. I think he tried to make Blondie make a mistake, and try to make Blondie think that, or sorry, not Blondie, Boris, think that he was going to have a move into that hairpin.
Boris now defends into the left-hander.
Seriously defensive.
Bit too defensive, gives Asturbo the inside line, and Asturbo is going to get the move done. That's around turn 9 there. Asturbo gets on the inside of Boris to reclaim that P3 position with 2 laps remaining in this race. Does Boris have an answer to it? I'm not sure we'll see it, but I'm sure Boris is going to be over the moon with a P4. The way
I think it'd be even more over the moon with a P3.
He would indeed. I don't think he's going to give it up easily, but again, it's a long season. It's no point fighting over a position if it's going to cost you 10 positions in an incident.
Yeah, as we cut back to the battle for P10, we got JJ, Darefowl and Dunder all close together. About a second and a half splits the 3 of them, as there's a spinner in the black background. I do believe
that was Dunder, was it, on the back of this train? That was Dunder who was in contention for that position.
Oh, it was, yes.
So he's dropped himself back now to P13. Gives Clank extra position back there. So back now to P10 with JJ, with Darefowl just behind. This is the battle essentially for the pole position spot.
Well, this is actually the battle for P9, because George must have made a mistake that last lap.
Yeah, the 3 of them now.
As he's right there. The battle for P9. George, JJ, Darefowl, they're side by side going into turn 1. As George decides to take the apex and JJ backs out of it. But look at Darefowl, he's right there.
Unfortunately, Darefowl had a poor exit there after the second corner, and JJ managed to keep hold of that P10, while also not being able to get the move done on George ahead, as he goes wide now into the hairpin, tries to go around the outside. Can he get the cut back on the hairpin? No, I think George just slowed him up a bit too much. He couldn't keep the momentum going from that outside line. To go through the S's, down towards turn 9, another long right-hander.
Yeah, JJ doing a fantastic job of trying to keep close through the twisty stuff, and maybe get a run on him as he gets the slipstream. Yeah, he's really close, but so's JJ, or sorry, so's Darefowl in the background. As JJ almost makes contact. Did he? I thought he just got away with it. The head now down to the final turn. JJ making moves. He's filling the rear view mirror of George as they go round. As George, that's worked. George has made a mistake, but George has got the cut back.
They're too wide down the start finish straights. Who's going to get the better into turn 1? JJ seems to have the speed, but George has the inside. And
you can just see as George, JJ now.
Yeah, George went wide into that turn 2, and JJ managed to get the inside line to take P9.
JJ, what a fantastic job. It took him about half a lap to get the whole thing orchestrated, but he's finally done it. And Darefowl in the background will be kind of gutted that there was no contact between all of that there. He would have been hoping to pick up that P9 spot, but
George isn't done yet though, as he tries everything he can as we're on the final lap, and actually as Jogrix finishes, JJ goes off. JJ's on the grass.
JJ's made a mistake. As there's your race winner. Sorry that we missed it. But Jorgurk,
Taking
and
the win there.
there's Big Welcome P2. As Turbo picking up P3, as you can see Jorgurk in the background, reversing across the start finish. And then Boris, he'll be happy enough with that P4. And then you got Stefan Carey and P5. Crab with a recovery drive up to P6. He did a good job considering the opening laps. Keyboard Blondie crossing the line at P7. WRC Animal, we didn't see much of him in this race. There was a lot of action tonight. And P8. And then there's George in P9. And Darephile picks up P10. He will be our pole sitter for race 2. JJ will be devastated that he made a mistake on the final lap, picking up P12. And you got Dunder in 13th, Cameron B in 14th, Ticklish, who unfortunately had a very quiet race, a few spins as well, in 15th. And you got Enema in 16th, Voodoo, also a very quiet race. We haven't seen much of him tonight, in 17th, crossing the line. We got Mr. Ferret.
I believe he may have already finished at that point, so just going around for another lap. But a few drivers got bumped up there with the 30-second penalties. So Jorgurk, after the turn 1 incident between Crab and Strongest Avenger, allowed Jorgurk just to run away with this race, pulling away from Big Wilk, managing to take second place after As Turbo's. I believe he went off on his own, but managed to recover back up to 3rd place. Boris taking the 4th position there. Stephen Carey, P5. Crab taking P6 after the incident. He had 2 incidents, in fact, so he's got to be happy to put it back to P6. Keyboard Blondie taking P7. WRC Animal P8. George in P9. And Darephile taking P10 and our pole sitter for the next race.
And taking up P11, Mr. Clank. P12, Cameron B, who seemed to have a pretty quiet race. Didn't see much of him. And 13th, we've got JJ, who will be absolutely devastated with the 13th plate spot. Then we've got Ticklish Pickle in 14th, Enema 15th, Voodoo 16th, Dunder in 17th, Mr. Ferret 18th, and Strongest Avenger, who had a contact at the start of the race and at the turn 1, on the run down to turn 1, in 19th, never seemed to get a recover from that. He had huge damage. Speedy Go, who actually had to retire after 5 laps, and WMDR Martin as well retired after 4 laps.
Yeah, I didn't see what happened with Speedy Go's retirement. We missed that one, unfortunately, but it's a surprising one.
Yeah, well, I know MWR Martin, we've seen at the end of the first lap that he had lost his front wing. But a surprise that he retired. Maybe he had another incident and had to retire. But yeah, lots of action. I can definitely see that the stewards are going to be busy between now and the round 2 of next week. But yeah, fantastic drive from Jorgurk, considering yeah, I think he was the only driver to be in the 26s.
Yeah, fantastic lap time there, and clear in the 26 as well with a 26.8. Just has the pace there. You can do it in the wet, you can do it in the dry. Such a consistent and fast driver.
Yeah. It's a bit gutting as Strongest Avenger will be really annoyed that that incident happened at the start. So really unfortunate we can't implement like replays that we could watch now to see who just to see exactly what happened. But tell me, Kiki, after that race, who's your driver of the race?
In terms of driver of the race, Boris and Stephen Carey both carved their way through the field quite effectively to pick up that P4 and 5 by the end. I think I have to go to Boris just taking that P4. He had a fantastic drive to get to where he was, so yeah, great job by him.
Yeah, I think I would have to go for Keyboard Blondie, because I know he started very low down on the grid, but absolutely fantastic to get so far up the grid and just keep it there and just have pretty a chilled race, to be honest. He never really seemed to make a mistake. He did a fantastic job.
Yeah, great job by all these drivers, like especially in the tough conditions for their first race of the season. Great to see them out there. Great to see them putting on the best fights they can. And
yeah.
see if we got. I'm not sure if we're doing interviews between. I don't believe we are. We'll be doing them at the end. So I believe that's time for a 5-minute break while the drivers compose themselves, have a bit of a break themselves, and we'll see you in a few minutes' time for race 2 of the AOR Formula C Championship at Ruapuna Park. See you in a bit. Hello and welcome back to Ruapuna Park GP circuit for round 1 of the AOR Formula C Project Cars 2 League. We just finished race 1, which we saw Yogurt take the victory there, followed by Big Wilk and As Turbo, as we head into race 2 now, which is going to be a reverse grid order for the top 10. Which will be interesting to see. Deophile taking pole position, George Ionidas will be taking second, and WRC Animal from third. But before we get underway, you can hear the cars in the background. We will just quickly go over the league calendar while they set up the grid. So last week we had Barcelona, Catalunya for the pre-season testing. This week we are at Ruapuna Park GP, which is providing some great racing so far. Next week takes us to Monza. Very fast track. It'll be interesting to see these cars around there, and high speed thrill that is Monza, followed by Red Bull Ring, which is a great track for these cars again. All these GP circuits are fantastic for Formula Racing. We go to Silverstone the week after that, followed by Brands Hatch for the double British round, and then Hockenheim for the final race of the season. So as we jump into the race now, we see them getting into position for the rolling start, which, if no one's seen that before, we will always go over it just so people understand. They're basically communicating now to get themselves into order for a rolling start. It happens exactly as you expect it would. They'll go single file around the track. They'll wait up until the whole grid order is ready to go at the end of sector 1. Then once everyone's ready to go, they'll make their way around single file, getting up to double file towards the end of the lap. And then as they go down the start finish straight, our pole sitter, Deophile, will decide when to put the hammer down, and that signals the start. That's contact during
there's
the warm-up
contact
lap.
already.
That's gonna change how things happen.
Yeah, this might signal a restart to the race.
Yeah, we'll either see a restart or we'll see these guys enter the pits, get repaired, and then they'll do another out lap. As Keyboard Blondie, a bit of lag there, shunting in. Oh, some weird lag going on for Keyboard Blondie. Not sure if you're seeing it on your screen as well, shunting into the back of the other two cars. The way it's going, that's definitely not intentional, the way Keyboard Blondie's going all over the place there.
Yeah, not sure what's going on, but there's a lot of damage in the top 4 cars already. Surely something's going to have to be done. Will the coordinate
see this race going underway the way it started here? There's no way we can just have these guys all have to go pits from those incidents. There's still contact going on. I'm not sure entirely whether this is.
Yeah, everyone's leaving the lobby. We sorry about this, folks, but that has signaled a restart to for the feature race, but we will have to restart the lobby, and we will be back. But in the meantime, let's talk about the calendar. So you mentioned the calendar earlier, Kiki. For me, I'm really looking forward to Monza because these cars love being in the slipstream. So for me, I think that track will be what I look forward to the most in the calendar. What about you? Yeah,
Monza's always a great track. It's obviously it's mind games. I feel Monza a lot of the time. Who can brake latest into turn 1 is often the scary part, and who can carry that speed around Parabolica. It's a great track for Formula Racing. Red Bull Ring's always a favourite of mine. I just enjoy that track. It just has a lot of great corners in it, and usually provides some amazing racing, with especially darting after turn 1, getting the run into that hairpin. It's great to see the cars battle for position around there.
Yeah, the I have to say, I'm not sure if I would enjoy Brands Hatch. Brands Hatch has always been one of those tracks where I can never get it right. See, no matter how hard I try, something always happens. If it's lag or just me with lack of talent, I just never seem to get there.
It's probably our narrowest track on the calendar alongside Ruapuna where we are today, and to be fair, this track is giving us some good racing, so I can see Brands Hatch providing the same as well. It's got a very scary turn 1. With these cars it shouldn't be too bad with the amount of downforce they have, but the way the track just drops away from you, you just lose a lot of the downforce as the track drops away, and the gravel trap approaches very quickly around that corner sometimes, and you don't have time to save it. So, should be interesting to see how they approach that later on in the season.
Yeah, definitely. The who do you suspect will win at the main games when we go back? I'm talking about Monza again because I love it so much. But who do you suspect will win the main games? If you had to choose between Jorg and Strongest Avenger.
It's never easy to tell.
Come on,
Both.
Kiki.
I can't pick a
Choose a
side.
side.
I
Choose a
can't pick
side.
a side. It's impossible to choose. I'll be honest. I'll let you know after this race. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how they go here when Strongest actually gets to race against Yogurt, because we haven't really seen that so far. Um, so we'll see that. Just getting the lobby sorted now. Apologies.
Yeah.
I believe we need to rejoin, which we are both in now. So as the drivers are getting back in, as the lobby's reformed. So this track's not really one I've raced on before. It's not really a known track. Obviously, being from Europe and the UK, you don't really get to hear or see racing from Ruapuna Park.
Yeah, I think I've done a few social races here in a GT4 Ginetta. I think you might have actually been a part of that, but it was definitely a fun track, I have to say. But I think we raced on the shorter layout, where it had like a tight chicane after the first sector.
Yes, we
Basically,
did.
I
Instead of
basically, I
taking
ba-
it as a hairpin,
yeah,
we it does a chicane and then back on the
yeah,
Dunlop straights to the
I,
final corner.
yeah, basically cut out the second sector. But yeah, it's a fun track. I really enjoy it. I think because it has like it's not an overly long track, but like it does have the fast straights that leads you into turn two, and but it also has like the slow corners and the twisty section because it kind of has a bit of everything. So even if you're slow or if you're losing a bit of time at some parts of the track, you can kind of gain it back at other parts where you're strong. So it's kind of like it's like a one track that kind of suits everyone across the board for me, anyways.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. The corners are great corners here. There's nothing that's too ridiculous, but there's plenty of opportunities for overtaking on this track. This obviously the hairpin is going to be the big one if you can get the inside line and under braking into there. But after the hairpin, it is going to be a right hander the next corner. So even if you're on the outside for the hairpin, you get the inside for the next corner, which then leads on to the outside of the next one and the inside of the long right hander. So it can take a long time for overtakes to actually come through on this track, given how flip floppy the corners are.
Yeah, it's a that's why I say it's a great track for racing. You could lose out one corner, but you can gain it back in the next.
See, now we are actually back in the game and going to get this back up and running, get the grid order sorted again.
Yeah,
Hopefully internet connection issues are sorted. I'm not sure what actually caused that, but it may have been connection
yeah,
issues, as we have people all
I
around the world. We have Australians, we have people from New Zealand, we have people from America, and all over
we got
Europe as well. So
we've got a few Canadians, we've got Lithuanian, Latvians, French, everywhere.
yeah, which is
I
great
think
to see in sim racing. It
Siberian,
brings people from all over the
Spain,
world together to
yeah.
race with each other, which people you never raced with before. So it's a fantastic thing to see.
I do have to just point out one thing that I love how the game automatically puts Yogurt on pole, even though it's a random grid.
I believe it was random grid, yeah. So we somehow it just put in there. It just knows by now, doesn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, he's gonna be starting P10 for the feature race tonight. But yeah, I think especially after the first race, I'm seriously looking forward to the second race. The battling was so close for the entire sprint race. I can't imagine it being anything less than the feature race.
Yeah, it's especially the reverse grid. To see last week, Yogurt, I believe, managed to get himself from P10 up to third or fourth by the first lap. So that's at Barcelona, though, where I believe it's going to be easier for him to make moves at. Here, narrow track, tight track, it's going to be a lot harder, especially if the other cars are bunched together. It's going to be harder for Yogurt to find those gaps.
Yeah, definitely. But I do believe that in the testing pre-season race, in the feature race, I think there was a crash at turn 3, so that definitely aided his jump up the grid, I do believe. He just had managed to avoid it. As we can see here now, the drivers are pulling off to the left and right to leave space in the middle of the road for people to be called up to lead their way. So yeah, you can see Darefal, he qualified, finished the race in 10th, so that means he's in pole now. Sounded like a broken record saying that, but here we are.
Just in case there's new viewers.
But yeah, I think if they can make the first couple of corners like clean, anyone can win this race, because I really do genuinely think that Jorger will have a bit of a job on his hands trying to get past everyone. It won't be as easy as what people may think. I know if I was racing, a lot of people say, oh, just let the faster guys through, but I mean, at the end of the day, I signed up to race, so I'm not just going to pull over and let them pass. Like, I signed up to race people, so and I'm pretty sure a lot of the guys in this league are you know, they feel the same. They don't want to just pull over to the side of the road and let the aliens past.
Yes,
even though it may be the safest thing to do.
We may or may not have Keyboard Blondie in this race, so I think that they may have had connection issues and caused Economy down to P16. Are they starting at the back of the grid at all, or is Keyboard Blondie not starting this race?
I don't see Keyboard Blondie on the list. I can see down to Strongest Avenger, and he's in P20th, and we started with 21. And I do believe that Keyboard Blondie was the one that he should be starting P3 or maybe P4. So yeah, and it was Keyboard Blondie that unfortunately had the connection issues and caused the restart to the race. So that's unfortunate for them, considering how good of a first race they had as well. They were my driver of the day.
Yeah, it's sad to not see them on the grid, but it means everyone else gets bumped up. I don't believe it affects the reverse grid at all. Everyone else will just get bumped up, and Keyboard Blondie will be removed from the race. But hopefully we'll see them again next week.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he won't be put off by it. But yeah, so let's go through the grid. We got Darefal on pole. We got George Iones, in P2. We got WRC Animal in P3. We got Crab, who will be making moves. We know how fast Crab is. And in one of the other AOR races that me and Kiki commented on a few days ago, he actually called out his teammate Jorger, who he didn't show up to the race. He said he was scared of Crab, and that Crab was happy to take on Jorger. Jorger was absolutely being called out by Crab. Crab threw out the challenge. So let's see what these two guys can get up to tonight in the feature race.
Yeah, obviously the incident into turn 1 ended that battle prematurely in race 1, but we'll see if Crab can put it back to him now in race 2. You see the drivers getting around, warming up the tyres, getting ready for the start of this race, which will be a rolling start.
Yeah, we've got Stefan Carey in P5, we've got Boris, who had a great race last race in P6, As Turbo right behind Boris again in P7, we've got Big Wolf P9, P8, sorry, Jorger 9th, and Clank in P10, Cameron B in P11th, and that's as far as I'm going to go because we're coming around the final turn. We should be too wide here now, as it's up to Darefal to drop the hat.
And he does, he's gone, and he's got a good lead.
The hammer. WRC Animal has made a huge lead. He's up to P2 as the camera jumps away from him.
But it seems to be through cleanly this time. I think someone's on the gravel, someone is, but they're back on. But WRC Animal, great start there to get to P2. As Turbo managed to get himself to P5. Boris up to P4 as well. Oh, there's an incident in the back. It looks like it was Dunder or Enema, one of the Timeshift Motorsport cars, spinning off there. there's another incident there. Did Turbo make contact there with Yogurt? I don't believe that was actually Yogurt. Yogurt got through safely.
Yeah, Yogurt's up to P4.
But there are cars off in the background, so not a clean first lap by any stretch.
I believe it was Crab. Crab's dropped down to 18th, and we have been robbed of our teammate rivalry.
We haven't. Crab's car is not going in a straight line either. That is a wounded car.
Definitely a suspension damage. It's just not going to drive in a straight line for us. But look at this, Yogurt already up to P3.
Yeah, he always managed to find his way through, takes advantage of all the incidents happening around him and just finds the gap, and very wide line he takes on that last corner compared to everyone else. But
yeah, he carries speed through the corner. Up to P2.
The first lap managed to go from 10th to 2nd with only WRC Animal now to get through.
Well, I guess I was wrong in my prediction. He's as Clank goes side by side with Dayerfal into turn 3 and makes the move stick. He's up to P5. He wants to make up for his such a bad race that he had in the first feature race, or in the sprint race, sorry. Carey's had a bit of a shocker in the opening laps as he's dropped down to P9. He started P6, lost out 3 positions. But as we can see, Speedy Go and Ticklish does have time penalties.
Yeah, 1 second there for Speedy
30-second time penalty for Ticklish. Yeah, Crab is in the pits. I'm not sure if he's retired or if he's fixing the car for damage, but that's very unfortunate. We really, hopefully by the round 2 we can get these guys racing. As there's a spinner in the background.
I didn't quite catch who that was spinning there. Was it Ferretti? May have been. I'm not
I think it was Cameron.
That's Cameron B, whose car is also wounded.
He is seriously bad damage, yeah.
It's sideways, his car's going there, which is not the way you want it to be going, but battle here now. Dayerfal losing out the position there to Speedy Go, I believe, and also to WMDR Martin. So 2 of them through. Dayerfal just moving backwards at the moment after having a great start to the race.
We've missed the jump for the lead. Yogurt is back in the lead and has a huge 3-second gap already to P2.
Yeah, I can't see anyone getting up to Yogurt now. It's which we've not seen so far. Strongest Avengers up to 10th position. See how he gets on battling through this field now to see if he can get himself up to at least score some decent points in the second race.
Yeah, Strongest Avenger is a very fast driver. He very unfortunate what happened in the first race, but now we can see that he started at the back of this race and already he's jumped half the field as he gets a little bit sideways, taking a leaf out of Yogurt's book.
Yeah, he does have a time penalty though. I'm not sure how long that time penalty is for Strongest Avenger, but he has had a bit of a track cut there as we go on with JJ now coming down into turn 1 as he goes round the outside of Clank. Can he also get it done on George Ioannidis?
He's going to make it he's done 2 for 1. What a fantastic move. He's going to round outside. He's on the curb, but what a fantastic move.
I think George Ioannidis doesn't want that though, as he gets the inside. There's a bit of contact, but they're safely through. But George Ioannidis gets position back as they head down towards the hairpin. George goes very defensive on the inside to block Clank and try and get on the inside of JJ. JJ taking the long way round. He's going to let 2 guys through by going the long way round. No, he's going to get the move done on the outside. JJ round the outside of George Ioannidis. Clank now looking on the inside of George. Was that contact on a car? It looks like George Ioannidis dropping down the order, and he is. He's upside down.
It's George.
I thought that was just debris, but it was a car being flipped, and George is out of this race upside down. These drivers are allowed to reset if they're in this position, just as a precaution, but that was some great battling that ended in tears for George there.
But jumping back to the action, we've got Strongest Avenger on Carey now. Will Carey fall to to the pressure of Strongest Avenger. But this is a huge battle for P4. This is literally from P9 to P4, they're all in a train.
Yes, that's what the reverse grid does. The faster boys behind the slower guys from the previous race. Not by much, but it definitely causes you to have battles like this where everyone's jostling for position and just the train is on. As someone gets squirrely, there's I believe it is Big Wilk there, but he keeps it together. Yeah. As Strongest takes the outside line. Carry's going to get swallowed here. Tries to also make a move. Gets bumped by Strongest Avenger. But keeping it safe. Strongest down the inside and gets a position.
He's absolutely getting his shoulders out. Poor Carry will not be happy with that there. But I guess a little contact may be forgiven considering it is such a tight part of the track. But Strongest Avenger now making Boris absolutely wide-eyed and looking in his mirrors.
Yeah, we saw Boris defending against Astor. We did a decent job of it for a large part of the race previously. Can he do it again now with Strongest Avenger? This is a 30 lap race, mind you, so it's a long race, twice as long as our previous one. I don't think he's going to be able to hold him for that long, but he may.
Yes. Yeah, Strongest Avenger seems to get a better drive out of the final turn, and now he's in the slipstream of Boris, and he looks to the inside as Boris goes defensive. And Stephen Carey
wants a piece of it.
Outside. Stephen Carey is not giving up Strongest Avenger that easy. Come on, Stephen.
Boris dropped off a bit now from the pack ahead with having to defend Strongest Avenger. Still looking, still being patient. By any time takes the outside line again. The outside seems to be working. It's worked twice now. We've seen the outside work, so it's a bit quicker around there. Maybe more grip out there as Strongest Avenger gets better run into this corner now on the inside, and he does make the move stick, so it seems that outside line on the hairpin is the best way around to get the move done the next few corners later.
Yeah, I do believe it's a slightly banked corner, so you can carry the speed and have a wide line through there, and then carry a slightly more speed into the infield section. So I say the rest of them doesn't seem to have worked that out, but Strongest Avenger certainly has, and he's using it to his advantage. As now his next target will be Big Wilk.
Yeah, the gap so far 2.6 seconds, obviously fluctuating in the braking zone, but about 2.6. You see Clank sitting nicely in P5. Bit of pressure from Big Wilk, but not as close as he needs to be to make any moves done at the moment. But see 3 penalties for this positions, 3, 4 and 5 so far.
Strongest Avenger seems to have a time penalty as well. Let's have a quick look.
Yeah, we've got 2 seconds for WRC Animal, 1 second for JJ, 2 seconds for Clank, and then back to Strongest Avenger for 2 seconds.
Yeah,
further back we've got Dundo with 2.
We missed as well that Ass Turbo has got up to P2.
He has, and he's put a bit of a gap to WRC Animal, so a bit of contact there. Oh, we're good. Clank holding his position from Big Wilk. But this battle here will surely, Strongest Avenger will see this and be enjoying it to bring that gap down if these two start fighting a bit more.
Yeah, you can just see Jorgurk now already has a 15-second gap into the lead. His last lap was a 1:20.3 and Ass Turbos was a 1:22. Jorgurk really is in a league of his own.
The rest of the guys. See what Strongest can do now. He's had a lap in somewhat clean air, not having to fight for position. Whether he can match Jorgurk's pace. Well, the Jorgurk just a 1:24 that previous lap, so it may have got a bit loose.
Big Wilk now at that great exit out of the final turn. He will be in the slipstream of Clank. What can Clank do at turn 1? I don't know if he's going to be close enough. He's definitely he's going to make Clank work.
No, Clank's easily got that position there. Clank holding well against Big Wilk so far.
Yeah.
They're not even losing that much time to Strongest Avenger as it goes at the moment either, so great job by these guys to keep the pace up while battling for this position.
I do believe Strongest Avenger has lost a position to Boris.
Indeed.
Strongest Avenger's last lap is 4 seconds off the pace.
Yeah, he goes around the outside then again.
Wide line.
See if we can get the run now into round these S's into turn 7 then. With the Strongest again, that's worked. It seems to have worked. We can get that inside line here. But no, no it hasn't. Boris gets inside for the
move.
flip cutback.
He's like, Boris is like, no, you did it once, you're not doing it again. And Stephen Gary has a look up the inside of Strongest Avenger. Will he make the move stick? Oh, he just backs out of it. But the Strongest Avenger, whoa, that would have scared him.
Yeah, Strongest not having the race we thought he'd be having. He is having to actually fight for these positions now in the mid-pack. So Boris finishing P4 in the previous race, putting it up to Strongest Avenger now to have to make him work up the order instead of just go through as Yogurt did. Yogurt 16 seconds up the road now, but Strongest Avenger fighting from the back at the start of this race. Got himself into P10 quite swiftly, but these next few positions are proving quite difficult. He's in P8 currently.
Yeah, Boris has been super cautious on the exit of the corners now. Definitely is costing Strongest Avenger time, but Boris just does not want to make a mistake. Stephen Gary goes off, hits the board, and Strongest Avenger dives up the inside of Boris. Boris now takes the wide line, has to leave a bit of room for Strongest Avenger, but Strongest Avenger just has a better exit towards the infield section. Stephen Carey in the background. I don't know how he did it, but he managed to keep the car straight and have a safe rejoin and not really lose much time because these two guys were in front were battling.
Yeah, I believe he just picked up the time penalty there. I just saw it flick red, so Carey did get the time penalty for that wide corner previously. But he's still going to be battling, still going to be fighting for these positions. You never know what's going to happen as we a third of the way through the race now on lap 10. There's a battle going on ahead with WRC Animal. What's happening here?
WRC Animal seems to be falling through the field.
Yeah, he's back now to P4 or 5, depending how this straight resolves these positions.
Yeah, JJ's got past. Big Bulk's going to be having a look into turn 1. And Clank is there in the background. He's on the slipstream of WRC Animal. WRC Animal now falling down to midfield as Clank has a look.
There's contact between the two teammates there, I believe. The two teammates coming into each other into turn 2, but they hold the positions in front of WRC and Clank so far.
As one goes slightly off onto the grass. They're side by side, the teammates are side by side. JJ and Big Wilk somehow don't make contact. What fantastic driving. This is what we were saying about the top 10. It's a lottery who's going to be in the top 10. You just can't tell. These guys are so close. I mean, we're 11 laps in, and there's nothing between them.
Yeah, it's still going either way. They're fighting hard in this midfield here, and it's a great race to see. Obviously, as to Yogurt doing Yogurt things. Oh, WRC Animal getting very loose on exit there. Can Clank take advantage of this into the final corner? He looks on the inside, but doesn't seem to have the run to go there. But see how he gets it on exit.
Animal leaves the door open, and Clank makes it up on the inside. But WRC Animal will have a better run out of the final turn. Clank slips back into the slipstream. He will be slowly gaining and gaining and gaining as he goes to turn 1. Clank makes it known that he's going for the apex. But he has to back out of it.
He does. We see JJ going wide. Can WRC Animal take advantage of this again? No, not yet. He can't. JJ getting lucky with that as Clank still getting himself wide in WRC. WRC goes wide.
Skipping him off the road.
Clank taking the inside line into the hairpin, and he gets the move done before the hairpin after WRC's misfortune. He may even lose 2 positions here as Strongest Avenger is right on his tail now, right on his gearbox.
Yeah, from all that battling, the pack behind Strongest Avenger, Boris and Stephen Carey have all caught up.
As this now becomes a train from 4th position down to 9th, separated by just 4 seconds.
WRC Animal goes slightly wide as Strongest Avenger has to look up the inside, but WRC Animal had the straight line speed to keep up the position. Oh, I need to take a breath for a second.
Yeah, WRC Animal now has to defend from Strongest Avenger. He's had a few wobbly moments in the previous laps. Come down into the final corner here now. It's usually into turn 1, we'll see if anything can happen. WRC a bit slidey out of the exit, not getting all the traction down he can. Strongest Avenger look to have a clean exit. They come barreling down towards turn 1.
It's pretty much as you were as we cross the line. There'll be no position changes into turn 1, I don't believe. Strongest Avenger seems to take a wider line and a later apex as WRC Animal has a bit of a wobble, and Strongest Avenger surely will be able to make something as they head down to turn 3 now.
I'm not sure if it was contact that caused that bit of a wobble, to be honest, but both of them going very wide on exit. I'm not sure how track limits are on that exit there, whether it's the white line or the curb, but very, very wide there. Pushing these cars as hard as they can, don't want to give an inch to each other.
Definitely not. Strongest Avenger using every single inch of that road, doing his best to get past this pack. But it's just not happening. These guys are just as fast as them as they go slightly wide, trying to get the cut back on WRC Animal. But it's not there. WRC Animal will have the next corner. As he goes slightly wide, WRC Animal, does he have damage on the rears? Surely Strongest Avenger will get him up the inside now, into the final turn.
It's a hard place to do it though, because if you have that wide line, you do tend to get the better exits for the start-finish straight, but we'll see how it plays out now, as Strongest Avenger does have the advantage initially, but Boris now looking down the inside as well.
Yeah, this is what we're talking about. If you take the wider line, WRC Animal now has the straight line speed, and Boris has got past Strongest Avenger down the straight. What a fantastic move, he's done the two of them.
Yeah. So as Strongest Avenger and WRC Animal battle in the final corner, Boris just gets the perfect line and gets both of them a 2-for-1 on the straight. Gets himself up to P6.
I was not expecting this from Boris in the background. And in the background there's Stephen Carey. He's doing his best to keep up. Come on, Stephen.
To go side by side then again. Strongest Avenger on the outside line. Can he get it done into turn 7 like he has previously? And yes, he still stays ahead there now of WRC Animal.
WRC Animal now, the teammates, or what look like teammates, but they're not actually teammates. Stefan Carey will be wanting to get past WRC Animal and try and stick to the Strongest Avenger. As WRC Animal does seem to be struggling in the infield section. I'm not sure what setup he's used, either loose or stable, but he definitely seems to have a bit less rear grip than everybody else.
Yeah, we are on default setups here, so they do only have 2 choices of setup, whether it's loose or stable, and looking at the tail end of WRC Animal, we assume he can only take in loose the way it's going for him, but spreading out a bit now, not as close as they were the previous few laps, so it seems like they've got themselves into about the order they should be so far, but I can't see Strongest Avenger wanting to sit behind Boris, but that was a fantastic move a few laps ago that he managed to get done.
Yeah. Boris has definitely been he's had a huge leap from pre-season testing. This is tonight and has been fantastic racing, and you know the thing, we're only halfway through this race. He's got so much more to show us.
Yeah, indeed, as Yogurt current leader 30 seconds ahead of As Turbo, followed by Big Wilk, who is the start of this train.
Sorry, as you were just informing the viewers of Yogurt, Strongest Avenger has been made a slight mistake, and WRC Animal has got back past, and Stephen Carey is right on the gearbox of Strongest Avenger again.
Yeah, just trading positions so far. It's all to play for still, with 15 laps to go, halfway through. They do not want to just settle down and catch the pack ahead. They want those positions now.
Yeah, definitely. And for all the viewers at home, if you sign up to these leagues, this is the racing you will receive. This is what you will be involved in. You haven't seen any contact in this race tonight, or very little. And yeah, if you sign up, this is what you're going to be enjoying. As Strongest Avenger has a look at Stephen Carey, goes around the outside of Strongest Avenger. Oh, Strongest Avenger claims the apex and makes the Stephen Carey slot in behind of a Strongest Avenger. It's not as easy as what I thought it was going to be for him, to be honest. Everybody here is making him work flat out.
He seems to have given up the position. I'm not sure whether that would have been a give back by the game, or whether he had a time penalty that made him give that back, but he did just have to give that position to Stephen Carey there. There may have been the contact into turn 1, and the game assumed Strongest Avenger overtook illegally and gave Stephen Carey the position back.
I'm not sure. I know if you go slightly off track, you do have to give back an abnormal amount of time, but he doesn't seem to have lost that much time, so
Yeah, that definitely
Maybe,
looked like a position give back as opposed to a time penalty, so those seem to give a 30 seconds if you don't obey those, so he preferred to do that than give up 30 seconds.
But look at this, the battle for P4. P4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9 are all right there.
There's only 10 seconds even from P3 down to P9 as it stands. I believe Big Wilk may be gaining on As Turbo. There's only a 4-second gap. I haven't been keeping track of that, but I believed it was bigger than 4 seconds previously in the race. So As Turbo seems to be dropping off, or at least lost some time somewhere.
Well, their last lap's Big Wilk was only, sorry, As Turbo was only 1/10 faster than Big Wilk. So their lap times are pretty consistent with each other, but we'll keep an eye on that there. But we have to jump back to the action as Clank is right on the gearbox of JJ now in the infield section.
Yes, battle here for now for P4 near the front of this huge train of cars we've got going on. I think they've been in this position just sat for a while now. The top 5 I don't think have swapped around too much in the past 5-6 laps. Clank probably just happy to sit there and just let these guys pull away from the action going on behind them. As
I don't think it has an option, but it's JJ makes a mistake, as so does WRC Animal in the background, as Clank now makes the move up to P4. But can JJ make the... He's got a way better drive out of the last turn. Clank goes way to defensive. JJ now in the slipstream. Will he go around the outside, or can Clank hang on?
Yeah, 2x2 now into turn 1. Clank with a slight advantage there. But can JJ get around the outside and get a cut back on him at all? It doesn't look like it's going to happen as JJ gets a bit slippery and allows Boris to get up behind him now. But Clank claiming that position after JJ's mistake before the final corner. Gets himself up to P4.
Clank having a fantastic race as he leaves the door open. Maybe not the wisest thing to do. He knew he likes that wider line. But JJ on his inside now as he slips back.
Yeah, slips back in there as they go round now.
Back
Oh, we just lost you a second there, JP, but you're back now.
Clank having a great race.
Yeah, Clank's done really well this race. He's kept it clean, got himself into top 5 spot, now in P4 as this train refuses to resolve itself as we see WRC Animal wide again. Be interesting to see. RC very loose there again. This can't seem to keep that tail end settled. It'll be interesting to see what the penalties are looking like, to see if these are fighting on track as they're trying to fight away penalties. Yoga with 8 seconds, pretty irrelevant. Clank with a 3 second, but JJ with 8 seconds. As it stands, Boris would be popped up to P4 with 0 penalties to his name. WRC Animal 5 seconds, Strongest 8 seconds, so he's really battling for position there and trying to pull away, but can't get anything done. Stephen Carey with 3 seconds, Speedy Go further away back in the pack with 3 seconds.
As JJ is trying to make moves on Clank. Clank having to go defensive into the hairpin.
But we know the outside can be the optimal line around there, but JJ does decide to cut it back in and settle behind Clank. So these guys, they'll have in their head, they'll see these time penalties and they'll know that some of them don't have to do any work and they can have a good finish. Like Boris is set for a fantastic finish if he keeps it clean because he has 0 penalties to his name. But some of these other guys, like JJ, I believe had an 8-second penalty. He needs to get ahead and pull away from the rest of this pack to have a decent finish here today.
I don't believe that WRC Animal could be any closer to the back of Boris going through that midfield section, as just the same as what JJ is to Clank. Clank now having to be really defensive into the final corner, but that just gives the advantage to JJ getting a better drive up the straight now.
I don't think that's going to be close enough. May have a better drive, but I don't think he's got anywhere near close enough to Clank to make a move into turn 1. Needs to be on the inside, I think. The outside not really working, and Clank has that very much covered. As Boris, I thought he got sideways there, but he kept it clean enough.
Boris had a bit of a moment there, but I think he was okay.
I think WRC Animal may be trying to make a move on him. See him come around in the background here. Bit wobbly there by Boris, and WRC Animal going on the outside into this hairpin. This hairpin seems to be the place to try and get a move done. The outside and inside both seem to be working when you get the move done around there, which is interesting to see, but not today for WRC Animal. Boris staying ahead.
It does seem that a lot of these guys seem to be using the final corner to get the better drive, get the gap closed down as they head into turn 1 and 2, and then carry the speed round 3, and then try to make a move towards turn 4 of the hairpin.
As we see WRC Animal still getting loose and allowing Strongest Avenger back through. So again, WRC Animal got his way forward and back down the order again, and he's settling now in P8 with Stephen Carey. Stephen Carey's been at the back of this pack for the longest time, but I don't think he wants to be there much longer. He's got to start fighting his way through as we get towards the closing stages with 10 laps to go in this race.
Yeah, we're 2/3 of the race done. Stephen Carey needs to put his foot down. He needs to make his presence known. He can't just sit in P9. This isn't the sprint race, Carey.
Yeah, he needs to try and get something done here. As we hear from WMDR Martin from the pit lane, saying he unfortunately had 100 suspension damage, 100 rear end aero, and 80 engine damage after some contact. So that's his race pretty much over. I'm not sure if he's still on track at the moment, I can't tell, but
no, we're down to 17 drivers and one of the WR.
On track, sorry to interrupt, with
not.
Strongest Avenger having a huge incident and allowing the other 2 drivers back through. So Strongest Avenger now at the back of this pack, WRC Animal followed by Stephen Carey. I'm not sure if that was a let back past again as before, but he seemed to just not really fight for that position into the hairpin.
Yeah, so I guess the stress of having all this battling is getting the Strongest Avenger as he's fallen behind once again.
Yeah, sorry for not watching any other action on track, but this is where all the action is, so at the moment is for this position. 4th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th even. Yeah,
the battle for between 10th and 4th, sorry, is it. As Stephen Carey, he must have heard my message. He's right in the slipstream now. He takes the inside line on WRC Animal. Can he make the move up into turn 1? He's made the move stick up before we've been in the braking zone. He's had a slight lock up. He's made it. As WRC Animal has a bit of a wobble. Stephen Carey up to P7.
Yeah,
next up, Boris.
Couple of errors by both drivers round turn 2 there, but Stephen Carey with the advantage. See if he can fight his way through. He's gained the 2 positions now as we get 8 laps left in this race. Can Stephen Carey get any further up the field?
I think this is his strategy the whole time. Sit back, see if there's going to be any crashes, and then when he realised that everybody was being such calm, cool, and clean drivers, he has to make moves, and this is what he's gonna. This is what his night's turned into.
So you see Strongest Avenger there getting the best of WRC Animal, it seems. I'm pretty sure he's going to get him into this corner now, and yes, Strongest Avenger gets his way back up to P8.
It's like watching a yo-yo championship.
It is going back and forth, back and forth. I would like to see how many position changes we've had in this race, because it has been a lot of changes.
Just look at this. Strongest Avenger and WRC Animal side by side as they cross the start-finish line. I think Strongest Avenger might have had a slightly better exit out of the final turn, but
I'm not sure he has. WRC Animal seems to have got the position.
Has got the position done before we're in the braking zone. Oh.
So Strongest Avenger managed to get through on the infield, but WRC Animal getting it done on the start-finish straight. Whether that's down to setup or not, maybe the loose setup gives him that acceleration, but makes him a bit more unstable on the infield. But allows this flip-flop for position to happen. As his contact! Strongest Avenger hits WRC Animal.
Has been spun around. I think he's waiting. Is he waiting? Yeah, he's waited to make sure WRC Animal gets back on track.
Yeah, so Strongest Avenger making contact there, allowing a bit of breathing room for Stephen Carey now to actually attack Boris.
Yeah, Boris, the gap to Boris has dropped to 0.7 of a second.
Yeah, I think Stephen Carey will look in his mirror, see it clear and go, oh, this is great.
Right.
Now I can actually get my head down and push, and any slight tweaks of an incident, not going to worry about those, but still can't afford a major one. but he can at least afford a little bit more risky play now as he tries to close down Boris to try and get that P6.
Yeah, for Carey now, it's purely eyes forward. We don't need to look behind. We'll have a little look behind at the Ticklish in P12 as he tries to close the gap to Darefowl. He's pretty handy on the brakes and the infield section, so is Ticklish. He's even in that one braking zone, he gained 2/10 of a second.
Yeah.
Can Ticklish and Darefowl? It's pretty even apex, but he's definitely gaining ground on Darefowl.
Yeah, it's another 2/10 there in the final corners, so we'll see if Ticklish can get anything done on this next lap. Close that gap further, as we've got 6 laps remaining in this race. Yogurt walked away with it, to be honest. Had no clear competition after the first lap of working his way through the field. As Turbo, still about 3 seconds ahead of Big Wilk, so he hasn't really pulled away massively from Big Wilk, but he has kept it clean, kept it going.
Yeah, I do believe that the gap has closed. Yeah, I think the gap's down to 3 seconds. It was 4 seconds earlier on, but it's just not closing fast enough. Big Wilk's done a fantastic job in P3 tonight.
And we jump back to the massive train after that of Clank, followed by JJ, followed by Boris, followed by Stephen Carey. There's 4 seconds separating those 4 cars. And there they all are on the start-finish straights. See, it's more of 2 little battles side by side. We've got Clank and JJ closer than, or even Boris is actually still, they are still close enough and in contention to each other, really.
Yeah, a slight mistake from any of these drivers, they will be at the back of this pack. All the battling though, after the 25 laps, there's nothing between them. It's fantastic to see how close this championship is.
Yeah, and this is just round 1. This is round 1 at a track that I don't believe many guys... Who's off there? There's a back marker, I believe.
That's a back marker.
No stress there.
I just had a heart attack. I thought that was Boris for a second.
So did I. But no, it's someone else, the back marker just off the track, letting these guys through. But, JJ is sitting about a second back. I haven't seen that really come down at all, to be honest. That's JJ off the track.
Just makes a mistake, yeah.
That's, if you look at penalties right now, because that could be the big deciding factor. JJ with 12 seconds. So Clank with a 4 seconds, still actually at threat to losing that position to Boris. To see Stephen Carey with a 4 second. Everyone behind him has larger penalties than Carey, so Carey's going to be happy with that. As you see WRC Animal with a 9 second and Strongest Avenger with an 8 second penalty. So right now, yeah. Clank is not under a huge threat from JJ with those time penalties the way they are. Clank could easily let JJ go by, but what Clank is afraid of is Boris, who has such a clean race so far and is within that 4 second window that he needs to be to jump up to P4 from P6 on track.
Yeah, the last thing that Boris needs is Stephen Carey to get past, because that's going to cost him the little gap that he has, because if it stays the way it is, he will get P4 and jump Clank and JJ. But if Carey gets past, that could cost him time, and then the Clank could end up staying ahead.
Yeah, it's all going to come down to those time penalties, but you still got to fight for it on track to keep it within that time penalty window. But Stephen Carey, even with the penalty, he doesn't want to lose any more time to the cars behind, and he'll be looking to actually get past Boris here, try and pull a further gap. As Boris is very slidey there, can Stephen Carey take advantage of this now as he come into the final corner? Doesn't look like there's much to be gained there so far, but maybe able to get the better run out of this corner now.
Stephen Carey doing his best to have a good exit out of that corner, all over the curbs, 2 wheels on the grass almost. Yeah, the gap is definitely closing, but it's not closing enough. JJ seems to have made a mistake on the final turn, because he's Boris is right on him now. Yeah,
JJ dropped back. I saw a bit of a lock up into turn 1. I'm not sure if it was there that he lost the time, but Boris now right up behind him, and Stephen Carey looking to prey on this as well. But I believe
there's
JJ's the one.
There. Oh, back marker seems to be getting in the way, and it's cost JJ. It's cost JJ.
It has. JJ's gone way off the track now, and that 12 second penalty plus that off track is going to cost him dearly. He may even lose positions to strongest Avenger behind him by the end of the race.
JJ seemed to have gotten spooked as the back marker cut across the track in front of him to give him the position. It was a good intention for the back marker, but that's cost JJ 2 positions.
But Boris and Stephen Carey will be pleased about that. We'll see now. This almost freed Boris now to gain on Clank and keep him within that 4-second window when there's just clear air between them. It is sitting around.
It's
that
just
3-4 seconds. It's fluctuating.
Yeah.
It could come right down to the wire for that position. Depends if anyone picks up any more penalties in these final 3 laps.
Yeah, at the end of the straight it jumps up to 3.7, so Clank would need to push on for another half a second, or Boris will grab P4. What a fantastic drives these guys have been doing tonight. I'm thoroughly entertained. Every last one of them.
They have definitely not left us with nothing to talk about, have they, at all? First time doing, well, we've had a few practice commentary races and pre-season stuff, but this is our first league race and my throat is gone. It's going. It's going to be gone by the end in these final 2 laps. As you see Boris holding off now Stephen Carey. He's done a good job of it so far, just got to keep it up to the end. But again, with those penalties, Stephen Carey may not even look to battle here. I don't think he's going to gain enough from battling. So keeping it clean, keep it behind Boris, just bring it home in these final 2 laps could be the strategy here. Because yeah, he's got a 4-second penalty, so nothing to gain.
He would need to beat Clank for position on the road to get any more positions. But the
only thing Carey could do is put Boris under enough pressure to allow Clank to pull away. But as Stephen Carey's no teammate of Clank, he has no obligation. But they are both in the Celtic bromance, so it's almost as if Red Bull had an AlphaTauri.
AlphaTauri.
Yeah. It's the kind of what we're talking about here.
But which is Red Bull, which is AlphaTauri?
I won't get into that, but what I will say, it's almost... will Christian Horner be on the phone to AlphaTauri, be like, can you put a bit of pressure on Boris, please?
So who's Max?
Oh, we don't want to talk about that. We don't want any tyres exploding here today. Spoiler alert.
That we've had.
But now we've got 2 laps remaining here. Yogurt just ran away with it.
We've got our Yogurt is on the final lap as he comes into the hairpin. He's absolutely run away with these races tonight. He couldn't have asked for a better start to the championship, if I'm honest.
Yeah, nothing else he could have done really. Just got out in front and got his way up through the grid. Within the first 2 laps, I believe, is in P1.
Sorry to cut across, but this is the battle for P2. I do believe that Ass Turbo's made a mistake, and Big Wilkins right on his gearbox. And as they head now, they've got a 1 lap remaining. There's a back marker in front, but the back marker's doing his best to get out of the way. Big Wilk doing his best to get on the back of Ass Turbo. I'm sorry, but we're going to have to cut away from the action as Yogurt comes across, sorry, not across the line, but around the final bend to take the win for the future race. What a fantastic job he's done. But we're going to have to jump back as we're in the infield section now with Ass Turbo and Big Wilk. Big Wilk making himself known in the mirrors of Ass Turbo. Can Ass Turbo hang on? Will he get under pressure?
And there's no penalties between these guys, so it is going to be done on track. Nobody can give up this position here. Ass Turbo needs to just defend all the way to the end. There was a 3-second gap only about 5-6 laps ago. So for Big Will to gain it down, he's clearly having a faster run. As Ass Turbo gets a bit sideways there. Can Big Will do anything on the final corner now? Is he going to try anything different? He's going to take a bit wider line, try and get the run off the corner. But can he get it done? There's a run towards the line now. It doesn't look like he's got the pace there to get it done. So Ass Turbo defended perfectly there.
Ass Turbo taking up P2, but he will be sweating after that race. Big Will, what a fantastic job in P3, and we got our boy in the Celtic Romance taking the P4 home.
He is indeed, but is he going to stick? Boris is going to get it back with
time penalties. Boris gets him on time penalties. And what's the
And
did
Stephen
Carey keep
Carey
it?
does just about there jump JJ on the penalties as well. Is JJ going to stay, I believe? Strongest Avengers in the gravel? Is that? Oh, it's after the race. They
That's after
finished.
the
Yeah.
race. Yeah.
Had me there for a second.
And this is the race results. Fantastic race. Our race winner, Yogurt, running away with the race. Fastest lap with a 1:19.4. As Turbo and Big Wilk finishing out 2 and 3. You got Boris, an unbelievable drive from Boris in P4. You got our boy Clank from Celtic Romance taking up P5. We got Stephen Carey, who had a great race as well in P6. We got JJ in P7, along with Strongest Avenger in P8. WRC Animal in P9. Uh, Speedy Go in P10, who we didn't actually see much of him, which was kind of surprised. He only managed to P10.
Yeah, I
Then
believe
in
he
P11,
had to maybe a pit or had an incident early on because he was a good 20 seconds off the back of the pack for most of that race.
yeah, that's unfortunate. But normally Speedy Go goes pretty well. He would have been great to have him in that battle. P11, we got Darefowl and Ticklish Picklewickle. I think he had a bit of a quiet race, but in P12, then Ferret in P13, and we have lost the rest of the standings.
That is okay, but oh, what a race! What a race we had on our hands there. We'll have a look now to see if we can get any interviews on the go, which we do. I guess we'll bring our race winner in first, JP. We'll bring in Yogurt. Yogurt from P10 to the lead within a couple of laps to 50 seconds up the road. Anything else to add? I can't hear anything coming from Yogurt at the moment. Can you hear him, JP?
I can't.
For the next one.
Ah, there we go. We can hear you now. Sorry, we missed that from the start. Do you want to just say that over again? Sorry, Yogurt. We missed that. It didn't come through.
Okay, so basically I'm just not gonna practice for the next one.
Gonna give them a chance, are you, next time? Well, from what we saw, Strongest Avenger had a bit of a struggle getting through, and obviously in the first race there was contact into turn one. Did you see much from that contact in turn one?
No, I didn't really understand what happened, but I looked back at the stream and I saw that we were going free wide. And from my screen, it didn't look like that. I think there was some sort of desync happening as well, so that could have also caused many of the crashes today. And yeah, I thought it was Strongest who was actually hit me in the rear, but it turns out that we didn't even have any contact. It was Crab who was in the middle of us too, and yeah, somehow the physics just decided to yeet him off the track.
Yeah, it was definitely a strange incident to see. We were kind of robbed. It was very Hamilton and Perez-esque at the Baku, just to have like the three big guns at the start of the race, and then just have one of them yeeted off the track. It's very unfortunate. But you said you're not going to practice for the next race. I'm not so sure. I genuinely believe that these guys are going to be right on your tail. Come, I think in the next race at Monza, I think you're going to have your work cut out for you, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, I say that I'm not gonna practice, but I'll probably still practice a little. Yeah, and Monza is definitely not one of my strongest tracks, and I know that everybody who was playing Project R2 for a long time has always gone to the online lobbies, and all they do is race Monza there, so people have a lot of experience. Can't really say the same for myself, but still, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, well, you did a fantastic job tonight, I have to say. You didn't really put a foot wrong, I don't think. Did you have any spins or anything? We didn't get to see much of you tonight because there was some serious battling in the races. Anything you want to report back to us?
Well, yeah. First of all, I honestly, it's just more interesting to watch the scoreboard to see where people are on the track than actually race myself. So that's what I usually do most of the race. It's I just like seeing all the guys that I know, seeing how they do, and just rooting for them. Basically, it's like I'm watching a race.
But when you come to lap them, you just spend a few laps just following, just to see what's going on, just see how people are getting on.
Yeah, honestly, like in this race, I was literally just entertaining myself by seeing how many people I can lap.
Yeah, well, you did a great
And
job
yeah,
tonight, but hopefully it'll be a lot closer next time. So,
yeah,
congratulations.
about the spins. So yeah, I had one spin in the sprint race in the last lap in the last corner when I tried to do a drift
Hello.
show off, and that didn't.
I think we got a bit of lag from Kinky there, but carry on, Yogurt. I'm still hearing you loud and clear.
Well, yeah. So there was that spin in the sprint race. Then there was two spins in this feature race in the last laps when I was really trying to push to catch some of the guys in front of me so I can lap them just for my own ego.
Well, like we said,
Oh yeah,
hopefully
after
next
that,
week will be a lot closer.
well then,
But
I'll
yep,
next week then.
yep. See you next week. Congratulations and enjoy your 2 wins. So next we'll bring in
Yeah.
our 3rd place finisher, which was Big Wilk with a really close battle there at the end. So Big Wilk, your P3 in the 2nd race, P2 in the 1st race. Talk us through that battle at the end with As Turbo, the final race. We did manage to catch that as you gained about 3 seconds in the closing laps.
Yeah, I didn't quite make it a battle, eh? The classic one more lap would have done it, I think. But oh yeah, I'm still not disappointed. Hey, 2nd and a 3rd, and I think P3 in quali maybe. So yeah, no, that's where I'd like to be. I enjoyed that. I think I don't know if you saw the hairpin passes, but that was definitely my corner today.
We saw a fair few hairpin passes by a lot of drivers. There was there was a lot of overtakes going on in that hairpin. Both the outside and the inside seemed to work there. So, yeah, first, well, I don't believe it's your first time racing in AOR, but first race of the season. How are you looking forward to it? Obviously, with a 2nd and a 3rd, you've got to be pretty pleased with it and fighting for podium spots each week.
Yeah, I think I really like Ruapuna. It's the home race, so I don't know how I'm going to go at the traditional tracks, but hey, I'll give it a go.
Yeah, with Monza next week, is that a track you know well at all?
I do a lot of GT3 at Monza. I'm not sure I've raced these there, so I have to figure out who my teammate is and get a draft there.
Figure out your teammate. Like you haven't found out before who your teammate is. We may have it written down here somewhere.
Speedy and I.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Speedy Go.
Speedy Go is a quick guy from GT3 Racing,
Yeah.
so it's a great teammate to have. I believe
His name definitely suits him.
Yes, we've raced before, quite close. So, like I say, maybe we can take it in turns at Monza and get up the front.
Yeah. How do you find the reverse grid format? Obviously, you had a strong finish in the race 1 and had to work your way through for race 2.
I like the format. I did get punted at the hairpin on the start of race 2, so it took me a while to work forward. But yeah, it gives you a chance if you don't do great in the first race. Last week I was P9 and started P2, so I think it gives everyone a chance up front.
Yeah, for sure. But anyway, congratulations on your strong finishes tonight, and we'll see you next week for Monza.
Thanks, guys. See you there.
Thank you.
Okay, so next we'll just go by finishing order in race 2. So Clank, I believe, is our next finisher. So we'll bring Clank in now, who on track, I believe, finished in P4, but had to drop the position to Boris with a 4-second penalty. Clank, a bit better this week than last week.
Crikey, those were a sweaty few laps trying to pull those 4 or 5 seconds, whatever it was. Oh, I'm gutted I didn't get the P4 actually, but top 5 is pretty good, I suppose, from the feature race. The sprint race, the less said about it, the better, I suppose. Turns out the stable setup is dire in the wet. The understeer is huge. The steering wheel, it's not actually attached to anything on the stable setup. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, we saw a fair few incidents in race 1. Obviously, first race of the season, chucking you into wet weather. Not really ideal for you drivers, but worked out better for some than others. But race 2, we saw that a long time. You just being about 4 seconds away from Boris. I guess you're just hoping that he'd pick up a penalty, or you managed to pull it out at the end.
Yeah, I'm surprised anyone managed to do that without a penalty, to be honest, because you know what this game is like. It's a bit of a lottery. You go wide, and if you lift, then you're probably going to get the penalty, and if you don't lift, then it's going to go away on its own. So it's difficult to judge. But I've got to be happy with the top 5. Just a shame the first race didn't really go to plan, because I qualified better than I did last time, I think, and I was right on the cusp of the top 10, which is really where I want to be getting, because if I can just get into the bottom positions of the top 10, then it sets me up brilliantly for race 2.
Yeah, we saw the battles there for P10. It's always great to watch, especially when the midfield's this tight as well. I think at one point there was 6 of you within about 4 seconds in a train about halfway through the race, so some great racing out there to be had. But looking forward to Monza. A track you like, a track you hate?
Yeah, it's good. I like the track. It's going to be a slipstream fest in these cars. If you can get behind someone in qualifying, that would be need to do a Leclerc and just get a mighty toe and finesse the rest of the lap and hold everyone up. But that would be tricky with the slipstream. I don't know. It's the site of my only ever AOR win, actually, back in the GT3 in season 8. So I'll take that as a good luck charm.
You got to get
to
that
the
plug
race.
in there, don't you? So we have a previous Monza winner looking to reclaim that crown next week at Monza. But yeah, congratulations.
But I wasn't racing yogurt that time.
That's also
That's the
true.
big
You do have
difference.
yogurt to deal with. But yeah, congratulations on your top 5 in race 2. We won't mention race 1, but we'll see you next week at Monza.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, fantastic job, buddy.
Okay, so next up we'll bring in our 6th place finisher, Stephen Carey. We never know which way to say it, even when he types it out.
It is Stefan.
Stephen Carey. So,
Well, Stefan Carey,
P6.
you did a fantastic job tonight.
I did, didn't I?
Yeah.
I'm absolutely amazed. I don't know.
Yeah, P5 in race
we-
1 in the wet. Did you do much wet weather practice?
My practice was 20 minutes prior to the race because I fell asleep on the balcony, and yeah, and I was completely surprised. I went with the stable setup, and everybody asked me, "What the hell? How can you be that quick?" And I thought, well, I don't know. It's just stable, you know. It's stable. I didn't spin. I didn't have anything. It was just great. I don't know. I like rain. I think. That's a blast.
Yeah, and in the feature race tonight, we pretty much watched your entire race because the battling was so close from P4 to P10.
Yeah.
So we pretty much know your race inside out for that. How did it feel being like yo-yoing back and forth with the likes of Strongest Avenger, WRC Animal, Boris, all the rest? How did it go?
It was so much fun. I already told them it was so close. It was so fair. I think we didn't even touch once. Neither of us. I don't know. Yeah, I tried my best for the first few laps, but then I thought, okay, it's Strongest. There's no chance I can keep up with him. But I don't know if he had damage. I don't know. But then I saw, okay, he got 8 seconds penalties or so. Animal had penalties, I think. So I thought, okay, let's push something. Around lap 20, 21, I really started to push. And I felt I could have gone up to P4 or P5. But by the time I had 5 seconds myself, penalties, and that wasn't worth it. But yeah, I just, in the last 5 or 6 laps, I desperately wanted to overtake Boris. But I wasn't able to. I just wanted to finish ahead of him, although I had a time penalty and he didn't. But yeah, it was absolute amazing racing. One of the best races I've ever had, probably.
It was one of the best races I've ever watched, to be honest. Just in general, just like even including like real life racing.
Yeah.
But absolutely fantastic. Like, I think the only bit of contact that we would have seen was I think Strongest Avenger and WRC Animal had a bit of contact at the hairpin, but that's when you had already got ahead of them. So then that's why they had the gap behind. There was a bit of contact. So
yeah,
I think from that moment forward, you just didn't have to look in your mirrors, and you just kind of had to look forward and try and grab onto Boris, but absolutely fantastic job. Really,
Yeah, it
really
was-
is really impressive. Really good drive.
It was, as I said, so much fun, so fair. Of course, we had some accidents in the race, but I don't know. We literally raced for 30 laps in a pack of 3, 4, 5, 6 guys sometimes, and nothing happened. And yeah, absolutely great. And I will rewatch the stream because I'm pretty psyched.
Yeah, you did. That's you'll see our reaction to how good it was.
Looking forward to it.
But looking forward to the rest of the season after such a good opening 2 races.
Yeah, definitely.
What are you looking forward to for the rest of the season?
Oh, I'm not sure actually, because, well, we made the calendar. We picked the tracks we like. Nah, to be honest, I'm absolutely not sure. Put a gun to my head, I'd say Brands Hatch or Hockenheim, because maybe even Hockenheim, because it feels it's a little bit, you know, tight and a short track. It feels like it, at least. But yeah, I think the calendar's great. Every race should be fun. I'm really I'm looking forward to Monza, because I think the slipstream is hilarious in these cars.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
that'll be interesting on Monza. Yeah.
That's because Jorg was boasting earlier in his interview that he wasn't going to practice much for Monza. But I said back to him, I was like, I think that because of the slipstream effect, I think he will have his work cut out for him in the 2 races. Maybe not in qualifying, because then again in qualifying you need the slipstream as well. But I definitely think it's much closer. The race is going to be much closer at Monza, and that's why I'm looking forward to it. It's definitely going to be my pick for the races of the season.
Yeah, good point.
But,
Could be a lot of overtaking. A lot.
bring it on. Me and Kiki can't wait.
Okay.
If the rest
I'm
of the
going for the
season's
win
like
next
this, it'll be it will be fantastic. But yep, thanks for your time and congratulations on the 5th and 6th places. Great opening to the season, and we'll see you at Monza next week.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
See you next week, buddy. Thank you.
See you next week.
Okay, so next I believe we'll bring in Keyboard Blondie. Hello, Keyboard Blondie. How are you doing today?
Hey. Great.
So first race, you had a fantastic race it seemed, getting yourself into P7.
Yeah, it seems that I had a pace for top 10, which I was very surprised about. I thought I would be behind Airfile, and yeah, it was a bit of a look as well, as I qualified 16th. But yeah, in few laps I was in around 10 or a bit higher, and then I think I had only one overtake in that race, but everyone else was sliding off the track, and that helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I
that's
was whole half of the race I was behind Krab, and I was keeping with him, which is like that. I didn't expect that pace.
yeah, but the fact that you're able to keep it on the road just means that you were able to adapt sooner to the changing conditions. So hats off to you. You did a fantastic job in the first race. But it's really unfortunate that you didn't get to participate in the second race, because you seem to have good pace in these cars.
Yeah, and it looked like I would have top 10 pace as well, but yeah, it was connection issues and unlucky for me.
Yeah, for sure. Have you any preferences for the rest of the season? Like, have you any rivalries going forward? Have you any drivers that you want to keep an eye on?
Oh, I don't know. I'm a bit higher than I expected to be, so I have to see who's around me actually now. But yeah, I think it will go up from here as Formula One trucks is a bit familiar, more familiar to me. So let's see. It would be great if I could keep up with Scrub in the championship, but I'm not sure it will be possible, but that would be great.
Yeah, hopefully your connection survives next week, but we'll see you there at Monza, and yeah, congratulations on your 7th place in race 1, and good luck with your internet issues for next week.
Thanks. Yeah, it should be better as I'm upgrading internet as well. So
Ah, that's good to hear. Good to hear. So back faster
Fantastic.
than ever with the faster internet.
yep.
Okay, thanks for coming in, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers. See you next
See
week.
you. Yeah. Bye.
So next in, we will bring in Ticklish Picklewickle, who did not seem to have the best of weekends here at Ruapuna Park. Talk us through your races, Ticklish.
Well, you're quite right when you're saying that I didn't have a good weekend here. Basically, I was taken out lap 1 in both races, which I am certainly not happy about, and I will be having a look at the replay and stuff, and probably taking some of the stuff to the stewards, because yeah, I asked people to be cautious for lap 1, and I'm sure some people were, but not enough people were, so we did have some nasty incidents in the start. But yeah, I mean, first race I was I managed to survive up until the braking zone for the hairpin at the start of sector 2. Someone missed their braking point behind me and smashed into the back of me, so got about, I think, 20 rear damage, and the car was just kind of I don't know, it felt loose, so I decided to go into the pits instead of risking having any more issues with the car. So that was like a 14-15 seconds repair, I think. And yeah, I was basically last, and I had to work my way up. I think I managed to work my way up to 15th or 14th in the end before the race was over. But I mean, it's annoying when you know you have potential to do better than that. So that was race 1. Race 2, pretty much, I managed to get a little bit further. I was not taking out in the braking zone for the hairpin, but in the middle of the hairpin, I was I think it was Strongest Avenger who went into my inside, and then I don't know, he didn't really seem to take note that I was still on his outside, so he just kind of pushed me off the track, and I was into the grass, and I actually ended up getting a 30-second penalty for an illegal overtake, but like I was already in front of him, so I'm definitely also gonna have that removed in the stewards. But yeah, that gave me front damage, which gave me loads of understeer, so I also had to pit again. Luckily, I got like 14 front damage, which in the game takes very little to repair. That's just one of the wonders of Project Cars 2. So luckily, I did have a very short pit stop. So I didn't lose too much time, but I was still like, I think I was 18th of 20 when I came out of the pits. And yeah, again, just driving my way up the grid. Basically, I ended in P11, I think. I was almost in the top 10. I was more or less side by side with Speedy at the end there. Annoying that I didn't get the extra lap to take him, but yeah. So not really happy with how the races went. I enjoyed the driving, but it's annoying when you get taken out lap 1, and you know you have potential to do much better than a P11. So yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate that that these things happen. But at least you've proven to yourself and to the viewers watching that you have the pace, to carve your way back through the field, at least in race 2 and all, to show that you can, be well into the top 10. And maybe even grab a few podiums in the rest of the season. Who do you feel that you could rival in the midfield or or do you think you could take the battle to Yogurt?
Definitely
Which
not
me-
yogurt. I can't really say that right now, but he's just on a league of his own basically. I think he won by like 40 seconds in the end there, but very very big lead from Jazz Turbo. So definitely not going to be able to compete with him. I don't think. I can say that with quite a bit of confidence. But I think like it wasn't really easy to kind of stack myself up against anyone in this race because I was rarely with like people of my own pace, because I was taking out so early in both races. But like judging from the last race where I got a little bit better off, I would say like Modern is a very good contender for fighting with him. We're sort of like the the back end of top 10 kind of most of the time. Anyways, he was struggling a bit this race on this track. I just think this track is not very good for controllers. But yeah, him, probably Stephen Carey is probably right about my pace as well. So that'll be a good battle of the coordinators.
Yeah, definitely. He had a really fantastic race. So yeah, if you're on the same pace as Stefan, you can definitely be battling for top fives, 100%.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think I'll definitely try for these for the rest of the season. So
That's what we want. We want to see you trying.
yeah, of course. And I was even trying for this race. So and I mean, I ended up getting decent points anyways, even though I was taken out in both races. I'm still annoyed by the fact that I was taken out, but it definitely still paid off to keep going. So
Yeah.
Rage quitting is rarely the way to go. I
That's
have a very strict policy of basically never giving up, no matter how bad of a race I have, unless maybe like it goes to the extreme where I'm lapped like 5 times. Then maybe I'm like, okay, this is time to park the car. But like other than that, I'm not one to give up on like getting as many points as I can. Basically, I could easily have just been annoyed and left the race, but then I would get 0 points for both races. So
yeah, true. And you never know what, especially with how tight the top 10 is going to be. Like the battling that we've seen tonight, it's crazy close. I know if you take Yogurt out of this championship, anyone can win the championship. It's crazy close.
no, yeah, I mean, like I was kind of envious of like when I was in the pits and I went out, I saw these huge trains and I could just hear them go by. Like when I was on the straights, I could just hear them go by in the middle of the track, and I was like, I want to be part of that. But it was very nice to see like very long trains of cars just battling it out. That's basically what we want with this league. Just close racing, just close and fun racing. That's I think that's what most people are here for. So it's nice to see.
Yeah, definitely. Considering how close everyone was tonight, the such a lack of contact. You know, everyone. It was amazing to see. Like I think I even said during the stream, I was like, if you join AOR, this is literally what you're going to get, and this is what we want to see. So yeah, it's fantastic what we've seen tonight from the drivers.
Yeah, I mean, like it was definitely a very big contrast going from Barcelona, which is a very wide track with lots of straights and lots of runoff, to this, which is pretty much opposite in every way. Like not a very long straight. You're barely in 6th gear anytime, unless you're like in the slipstream of someone. And like the only real straight is the main straight. Other than that, it's just twisty and it's narrow, and there's next to no runoff. It's just grass every time you go a bit deep, you end in the grass. So it's definitely a big contrast, and it was not an easy track to race on. So I can understand that the standards were obviously, it was kind of suitable to the track, if that makes any sense. Like
Yeah.
so hopefully we'll be better for next week at Monza, which is basically another polar opposite if what we've just done today. So
Yeah, well, unlucky for tonight, but I can definitely see you battling well into the top 5 for the rest of the season. And yeah, so I guess we'll see you next week.
definitely.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you, guys.
So that will wrap up our stream here tonight. Thank you all for staying around and watching. Congratulations to Yogurt for taking the clean sweep tonight in race 1 and race 2. We'll see you next week, same time, same place for Monza for round 2 of the AOR Formula C Championship on Project Cars 2. Good night.
And that's me. Good night.